Hey, how y'all doing out there in YouTube land? This is Stiletto coming at you from the Wild Wild West. Well, this is part two, continuation of Veterans Day, not September. What am I talking about? November 11th, 2023. Let me get my date straight. Anyway, people, let's get this party started. Next up, these are all USA Combat fixed blades that are in my collection. I think they're really awesome blades. USA Combat fixed blades today. And let me see. Let's put one more in this bunch, huh? One more in this bunch. Which one can we put in here? Which one do I want to put in here? Let's put this one in here. All right. Here we go, people. These are some of my favorite combat fixed blades. This is like in the little bit like the medium size, medium large size. No, I guess this would be considered large. These are all like 5.5 or 6 inches to 7-inch blades. And I divide this one up in two little sections in this one video that we're doing right now, because I have a lot of them in this size. This is the Buck, the 5160 field combat knife. Made out of 5160 steel, spring steel. Very thick, very robust, super strong tip. It's basically a lot like a pry bar. I mean, this is a really heavy duty knife. It's got G10 handle scales, full exposed tang, with the butt end or pommel that you can use for attitude adjustments. Nice sheath. I like the sheath too. This can all come apart, and you can set it up different ways that you want to set it up, so you don't have to wear it like this. You can set it pretty much any way that you want to. Combat blades for soldiers that are made in the USA. Next up, oh yeah, this is one of my all-time favorites, the EK-44, Patton's knife from World War II, the double-edged dagger, the EK-44. This is the remake by K-Bar, USA made. It's got FRN handles, just like the EK-50 in the first video. Full exposed tang with a pommel that can be used for attitude adjustments. Nice big guard. Keeps your fingers safe from this double-edged blade. And this is the model that Patton carried during World War II. This was the knife that he used to always carry during World War II. That's a serious dagger, isn't it? This is the predecessor to the K-Bar, to what we call the K-Bar, the field fighting knife. USMC K-Bar. Love it, people. Love it. Let me see. Let's set the sheath somewhere else, huh? We don't want the sheaths all in the way. Let me see how we're going to do this. All right. Next up, Essie. I absolutely love my Essies. This is Essie 6. $10.95 HC. Now this one right here is $10.95 Crovan. This one's $51.60. $10.95 HC. Most of your combat knives have always been $10.95 throughout U.S. history. $10.95 is pretty much the most common used steel for combat knives for our military. I know there's a lot of new steels now and things may start changing. But historically, $10.95 has always been a real strong, and good good value U.S. steel that's used for, fixed blades and things like that. They even used to use it for folding knives back in the day too. Nice sheath. The SC6 with the Rowan heat treat. Next one up, this is one that all these three you can still get. These are still available. This one right here isn't. And I brought it out just because it's the only cold steel one I have that's USA made. That's a combat knife. And that's my old collector. My Recon. Cold steel Recon. This is made out of carbon 5 or carbon V. Whichever way you want to call it. Carbon V was basically 1095 Crovan, people, for those that don't know. It was just a name that Cold Steel gave to this steel. They didn't want to use 1095 Crovan. They wanted to have their own name, their own nomenclature, so they called it Carbon V. Or Carbon 5, whichever you want to call it. Absolutely love it. Recon Tonto. Cold Steel. Carbon V. Made in USA. Try to put this so you can read it. That's what the markings look like. This is an awesome blade too, people. This one's never been used. This one's never been used, and I haven't used this one yet. I plan on using this one. This one is used. Used by me. I didn't buy it used. I buy it brand new. And I used it for y'all in the video. But these are these. That's the first round of these. Let's get into the second round. Let's put these up. Absolutely love all these people. Happy Veterans Day to all my veterans out there and all my soldiers serving. All my soldiers serving, be safe. Be safe. The world is a chaotic place right now. I think we're sort of at a point where anything can happen. Oh, love this one. Recon Tontos are some of my favorite knives because the balance on them is pretty good right there. So they're fairly fast in hand. Super thick blade all the way to the tip. This is the only one that was made in the United States though. It was the original one. This is the original one. But you can still get these in you can get them in Samurai. They made them in VG1 Samurai. They made them in VG10 Samurai. They made them in Oz 8. They made them in, let me see. They made them a lot of different steels. 3V. They even made these in 3V at one point. And SK5. SK5, which is like 1085 or something like that, Japanese steel. But they made these in a lot of different steels. So there's a lot of different ways that you can get this. They all look the same, but they have different steels. Some of the blade tangs are a little bit different and stuff like that because different years they were made in different places. This was made in the United States. I think it was made by Camillus when Camillus existed. Camillus used to make the cold steel knives. The American-made cold steel knives, like the Archangels and the Recons. But you can't get these no more. You can get them on the secondary market, but beware. Because there's a lot of counterfeiters out there that have counterfeited these. So you got to be careful when you buy these. You got to be really careful. You got to really do your research and know what they're supposed to look like and all that before you try to purchase one. That'd be my advice. Okay, next up. Let's put these away. Next up. All right, let's get into some K-bars. Some K-bars. Some K-bars. Some K-bars. It's a K-bar day. It's a K-bar day. These are all modern fighting K-bars. Well, this one's a copy of the original one made by K-bar. That is made by, it is a K-bar. It's not a fake K-bar. It's a real K-bar. But it's not the original World War II K-bar though. But it is fashioned after the original World War II K-bar. Is that a good way to put it? I bought this one to replace an original World War II K-bar that I lost, that my pops gave to me. My pops was a World War II veteran in the Marines during the Pacific era of the war. So I bought this one to replace it. Just to remind me of my pops. Let's leave it out. We all know about the K-bar, people. You know, it's got a leather stacked handle and it's got a rat's tail. That's the bad thing about the K-bar is it doesn't have a real thick blade tang going through it. But I absolutely love it. It feels really good in hand. K-bars, these knives feel, the balance on them is really nice. These knives are meant to be fighting knives. They're not meant to be heavy-duty camp knives. They're not meant to be doing batoning and all that other stuff. You know, it's meant for doing light field duty tasks. You know, sure, light field duty tasks. You know, doing some food prep stuff or something like that. Or if you don't have anything else to do it with, or you know, setting up camp in light duty ways. But it's mainly meant to be a fighting knife. This one has a double-edged tip. And that's the way it came from the factory. I didn't do that. That's the way it came from the factory. So it's a real fighting knife. That's what I'm trying to tell you. This one right here was a special edition one when they made the K-bars. Because normally they were making them with these kind of handles, with the Creighton style handles, but for a minute, they made them with the leather stacked handles. And I just had to jump on that because it was a limited edition one. And they're only going to make them for a minute. Then they're going to go back to making the other ones. But this is the K-bar Tonto, Combat Tonto with leather stacked handles. That's a rare knife. A rare one. And this one right here, this is what I would call a true modern combat knife for soldiers, especially like if you're a paratrooper or something like that. If you're airborne, paratroopers, because you have to have three forms of restraint. This one has 3 forms of restraint as it goes across the guard. Plus, it fits into the sheath. The sheath itself is a restraint. And then you have the restraint up here for the handle. This is a Japanese style Tonto that K-bar made. Combat blade. Is that wicked? That's a badass blade. This is a badass blade, people. This is a really badass blade. And it looks like you could sharpen this wedge if you wanted to. This wedge isn't sharpened on this one though, but it looks like it can be sharpened. And that would basically give you like a dagger. It's a 1266. That's the model number, USA. K-bar. And these handles, myself, I like these handles the best. I like the Creighton handles. And the way that this one feels in your hand, this feels like a really good fighting knife. A really good fighter. If you're getting a knife for it to be a fighter, the K-bar is a good knife. If you're getting a knife to be like a heavy-duty camp knife, I would look for something else. If what you need is a real combat fighting knife, because a fighting knife doesn't have to have a super strong handle or whatever. It just has to have a strong handle, because you know, if you're going up against people, you're not stabbing into bricks and cars and doors and hoods and all that kind of stuff like Joe X does. Then you don't need all that extra super heavy duty stuff. If you're going up against people and you're having a fighting knife, I think you're better off with something that's lightweight that you can move fast in your hand. And that's what the K-bar is. It's lightweight and you can move it fast in your hand. This is meant to be a fighting knife. These have been fighting knives since World War II. You know what I'm saying? Going on almost 100 years, 80-something years or whatever. These have been USA fighting knives for a long time. The standard. And I know they have the rat's tail going through them. You know, it's a full tang knife, but it's a rat tail tang. And I understand all that. But if you're not using this to pry, you know what I mean, to pry something open or something like that, if you're using it to fight and slash and stab and all this kind of stuff, you don't need all that. You don't need all that. This is very strong for that. And it's well proven. These knives have taken out a lot of bad people that we had to fight against in our military. So, you know, they're well proven. Just because they can't stand up to, I don't know, a lot of these things that you see, like these full tang knives stand up to, as far as like heavy duty camp chores and stuff like that. Don't count them out. These are fighting knives, people. These are meant to be like daggers. You know, you wouldn't put a dagger in through heavy duty camp use either, would you? But, you know, these are built for a purpose, and they serve their purpose well. They've served our soldiers well throughout the years. The K-bars, USA K-bars. The USA K-bars. I highly recommend them. These are some beautiful knives, people. Beautiful knives for combat. Beautiful knives. 1095 Crovan, all of them. All of them 1095 Crovan. The lengths on them are like 7 inches and above. Let's see what we got here. 7 inches. 7 inches. 8 inches. Out of all these, which one would I pick? I'd pick this one. I like this one. I like this one. As a fighter. Look at that. I like this one. All right, people. That's number 2. Number 3's coming up. Number 3's coming up, people. Number 3's coming up. Let's put all these up. Number 3 is coming up. Happy Veterans Day. I hope all my veterans are doing okay. No, that's the one right there out of these K-bars. I love the original K-bar, but I like this one. If I was going to go into combat, that'd be the one I'd want if I was going to take a K-bar. Other than my EK44, that's a K-bar too, but I'm talking about like the traditional style K-bars. All right, people. That's it for that one. Part number 3 coming up. Happy Veterans Day. Peace.